This is the Phillies POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Philadelphia Phillies. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta. You just want to talk about the first game? Let's just talk about the first game. Maybe the first two games of the series and not this one. Because this one was a bit of a dud. 9-3 Phillies lose the third and final game of this three-game series with their division rival, the Atlanta Braves. Now, earlier in the day, they did win the first game of the doubleheader thanks to the Rafael Marchand show, which was fantastic. But game two of the doubleheader, Zack Wheeler against Chris Sale. And again, Chris Sale gets the better of Zack Wheeler, similar to the way he did in the Cy Young voting last year. 6 scoreless for Chris Sale, 5 1/3, 6 runs Zack Wheeler gets charged for in this game today. Kind of had a bad feeling. Let's get into it. 3 big things right out of the gate. Number one, Zack Wheeler, obviously. He was getting the outs. He was absolutely getting the outs. And there was one part of the game, the third inning, where every out was a strikeout. Both the top and bottom of the inning, every out was a strikeout. It was exactly what you want to see if you're watching Zack Wheeler versus Chris Sale. Both pitchers struck out the side in the top and bottom of the third inning. You went, all right. Now, in that inning, unfortunately, Zack Wheeler went out there, and although he struck out the side, and you could always argue that strikeouts, you're obviously running up the pitch count, but it was a 1-2-3 inning, 17 pitches. The second inning for Zack Wheeler ended up being a 1-2-3 inning, 16 pitches. The first inning, 1-2-3, he had a walk. He issued 1 walk to Marcell Ozuna, but still a 15-pitch inning. Even though he was getting out of innings rather easily to that point, to the point where everything kind of blew up, he didn't have that quick inning, that 9-pitch inning, that 8-pitch inning, that 6-pitch inning, whatever. So I just felt like the pitch count was getting up there, and I did not have a good feeling about that, especially going against Chris Sale, even though Chris Sale was putting up similar numbers to Zack Wheeler. I just, a little birdie in my ear was telling me this was not going to be a good day. We get into the fourth inning, and that's when all hell breaks loose, unfortunately, for Zack Wheeler. Starts out that inning by getting the first out, getting a ground out on a 3-1 pitch to Trey Turner, who's able to retire Baldwin. Then Ozuna gets the 2-2 sinker over the middle of the plate. He's able to get a humpback liner. Not quite a dying quail, not quite a bloop, but a humpback liner right over Trey Turner into shallow left field. All right, luck's not on your side in that regard, but it's the first hit of the game for either side. Then Olsen steps up. He puts a double into right field. So now you got a runner on first, on second and third with 1 out. Riley steps up to the plate. Now, Zack Wheeler at this point, no runs allowed in the game. He's only been allowed 2 hits in the game and a walk. So now you have a situation with Austin Riley at the plate, who has killed the Phillies in recent memory. And he gets up in the count 3-0. Everything that Zack Wheeler is throwing Austin Riley in this fourth inning is away, away, away. To the point where I just think it's an intentional walk without intentionally walking. I'm just trying to get him to chase anything. So then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Zack Wheeler comes in with a 3-0 pitch, a 3-0 sinker that's out over every inch of the middle of the plate, and Austin Riley fouls it away. And I go, phew. Although I wouldn't phew for much longer, because then Austin Riley put a 2-run double in the in the left field corner that allowed the Phillies to fall into a 2-0 hole. That was a rough one. Now, the reason why obviously they're not just going to pitch around Austin Riley or just intentionally walk him without intentionally walking him is because you got Ozzie Albies coming up there as a left-handed hitter. He gets the first pitch splitter, and I don't think Zack Wheeler threw too many splitters today. First pitch to Ozzie Albies was I'll call it a piece of garbage splitter that he had no business hitting, but Ozzie Albies broke out his beach shovel, dug into the ground about 10 feet, and went down and got that Zack Wheeler splitter. That was for a 2-run home run to right field, a first pitch splitter. Now you blink, and you're down 2-0. Or excuse me, 4-0 now. So that wasn't great. Zack Wheeler later gets out of that inning. Verdugo flies out to deep center field. And then Michael Harris II steps up, and he flies out to deeper center field. Both those deep balls to center field, both of them, sweepers, hanging a wee bit from Zack Wheeler. So you're out of that inning 4-0, and it feels like you're almost lucky to be out of it just 4-0. So, all right, Phillies bats, can you pick them up? Nope. You get another 1-2-3 inning from Chris Sale, and that was that. Speaking of quick innings, 13-pitch inning against the Phils. Castellanos went down swinging at a slider. Real Muto flew out to right field, and Edmundo Sosa grounded out to short. And just like that, Phillies were done. Go into the 5th inning there. You're able to have a little bit of a bounce back there from Zack Wheeler. He settles in, but still a 20-plus pitch inning. He records a strikeout of Baldwin there on a splitter that actually worked this time. And then the Phillies actually get an opportunity to pick up their starting pitcher. 5th inning, you get a situation with Weston Wilson up there. He's in a 1-2 count to Chris Sale, works the full count, gets the walk in an 8-pitch at bat. So now you got the leadoff runner on. Bryson Stott steps up to the plate. He flies out to left field. Johan Rojas grounds out to second base. Wilson's able to advance to second on that play. Trey Turner gets hit. Oh, my goodness. Another Phillies batter hit by a pitch. Seems to be a trend. It was a slider with a great break on it, and it hit right on top of Trey Turner's right foot. So now you got 2 runners on. You got 2 outs. 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. Kyle Schwarber works a walk. Can the Phillies offense pick up their starting pitcher? You got the bases loaded, 2 outs. Little mound conference. If you're Alec Boehm, if you're thinking you're going to be able to help out your starting pitcher by jumping on a fastball, then my, oh my, jump on that fastball. What does Chris Sale give him? He gives him a fastball. What does Alec Boehm miss? He fouls away a 97-mile-per-hour fastball up in the zone, not top of the zone, but up in the zone, about letter high. Very next pitch. Guess what it was? Guess where it was? Yeah, that's right. Another fastball. Did Alec Boehm crush it? No! He missed it as well. Alec Boehm ends up killing the threat with a ground out to second base. And that was that. I know some people in a bases-loaded 2-out situation might be pissed, especially when you just walked Kyle Schwarber. You might be pissed that he swung at the first pitch. I'm not. You have a mound conference. This was a very similar situation then to Rhys Hoskins, who's coming to town for the next series, had against Spencer Strider in the playoffs, where Spencer Strider looked like he lost his arm slot. They had a mound conference. Rhys Hoskins thinking, oh, they're going fastball. They're absolutely going to start me off with a fastball. They did. 3-run home run. Bat spike. All right. So Alec Boehm went up to the same type of mentality to score some runs, potentially tie things up, to pick up his starting pitcher in Zack Wheeler, to no avail. Wheeler, unfortunately, then goes into the 6th inning, has some more struggles. He ended up being taken out of the game before any runs were scored. But the 2 runs scored on Luke Williams, say it ain't so, on his 2-run single were both charged to Zack Wheeler. So when you close the book on Zack Wheeler today, unfortunately, 5 1/3, 6 runs, 4 hits, 4 walks. What? And also 6 strikeouts. 107 pitches to get through 5 1/3 innings of work. Now, I know some of you guys, okay, are going to be looking at the strike zone today and say, oh, it was a little tight. Well, it was. Mark Wegner, I actually just read something on him last week. It came up in my algorithm that he had a damn near perfect game as an umpire. He had 1 missed pitch. He called it a ball. It was a strike. I think that's the way it worked. Or he called it a strike. It was a ball. I forget which one it was. But anyway, he was wrong on 1 pitch. A damn near perfect game for the home plate umpire calling balls and strikes. Well, he was behind the dish today for the game 2 of this doubleheader. I thought he called a great game. I thought it was great behind the plate. It does make me question, oh, wait, you have something that's perfect in evaluating how umpires are doing? Maybe you should use that to call balls and strikes. But, I'm just a Looney Tune. Anyway, it was a tight strike zone for both pitchers tonight. Chris Sale got frustrated at times, you could see. Zack Wheeler certainly looked like he was getting frustrated. I remember there was a game in Miami last year, and I think it was the game that Garrett Stubbs caught him in. And he said, I'm not blaming Stubbs, but obviously we're not on the same page, but we rarely work together. I'm not mad at the umpire. He was calling balls, and strikes. It was a tight zone, blah, blah, blah. But he was right. Okay. I had a similar thought with the exception of Garrett Stubbs tonight. I had a similar thought for Zack Wheeler where I thought the strike zone was good. I'm interested to see what he has to say after the game. I'll try to keep an eye out there for social media, see what he is saying. But all in all, it did not look like he had his absolute best stuff after that 3rd inning. And you could say, that's Captain Obvious there by just looking at the numbers. It showed. It certainly showed. as he was struggling in those at-bats. Again, a 3-1 count to Baldwin. He's able to get him out. But then you have a 2-2 sinker. You leave over the plate there for Ozuna that he's just able to get enough of. Then you face Austin Riley, a 3-0 count you give him. So he knows exactly where he's going. And he gets that 2-run double. Albies, I'll give him credit for this. I didn't see a splitter coming. Albies must have figured he was getting some off speed and then jumped on it. And then 2 pitches that could have been home runs just missed by Verdugo and Harris for the final 2 outs of that inning. Zack Wheeler did not look like he was on point, did not look like he was on point in the 6th inning either. So again, 5 1/3 for Zack Wheeler. He drops to 6-2 now on the season. So that's number 1, Zack Wheeler. Number 2, 9 guys left on base. This ain't helping anybody. This is terrible. Now, I'm going to jump right from 2 to 3. No Bryce Harper in either game. Let's talk about that. So in the first series, you obviously don't see Ronald Acuna. All right, you don't see Acuna. Okay, in the first series of the season against his squad, right? He's coming back from injury. Well, he's in it now. Also, the Braves could not have had a harder start to the schedule, and I'm not making an excuse for them, but let's be real here. They did face the Dodgers, a pretty good baseball team. They did face the Padres, a pretty good baseball team. They started out, 0-8, 0-9, whatever it was. They're a better ball club than that. And already you're talking about a team that's 4 games under 500 in the Atlanta Braves at this point? 3 games under 500 after their win tonight. Look, I'm happy you won the series. This was the time of year that I'd love to see a stomp on the Atlanta Braves. And I don't feel like the Phillies, they won the series. That's great. But I don't feel like they stomped on the Braves. I said going into the series, I'll be happy with a 2-1, 2-1 series win for the Phils. I'll be very happy if they obviously sweep the Braves, because this is the time to stack the W's. Because when you're facing them later in the season, they're not going to be the same team. They're absolutely not going to be the same team. And I would certainly hope that Zack Wheeler would have a better performance left in him than what we saw tonight. All in all, you do this without Bryce Harper, who, by the way, was hitting 308 in the month of May. So that ain't nothing. And with a 381 on base percentage, that certainly ain't nothing. You want to be feeling like you're a much better ball club down the stretch as opposed to right now. And we learned that lesson certainly last year. The Braves, I feel, have their best baseball far in front of them, closer to the end of this season, where they're going to be certainly a better team to be dealt with, a harder team to be dealt with than they were, let's say, in the end of May and beginning of June. So happy that they took 2 or 3. Happy they even the season series with the Atlanta Braves, 3-3 now, so they're split in that regard. Phillies now have a around 500 team in the Milwaukee Brewers coming to town, and you hope they're able to handle their business in that regard. And you don't have the Mets for about another 3 weeks before you see them again. So, look, if you would have lost this series, I would have been ranting and raving about what a waste of time that 9-game winning streak was. I would have been pissed at the 9-game winning streak for some fool's gold and false hope, and failing the ultimate test, which is beating teams in your own division. But they did it. They won. They won 2 of 3 against the Atlanta Braves. By the way, I didn't even mention this after game 1 of the doubleheader. Kyle Schwarber, double-digit home run season, 10 home runs on the season. Or, excuse me, 10 home runs in the month of May. Attaboy there, Kyle Schwarber. When we come back, I'm going to take your comments. I'll tell you the player of the game, the turning point of the game, and what you'll be talking about tomorrow. This is Locked On Phillies Postcast and the Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. If you guys have been listening to me for a while, I'm not going to waste your time with some average pistachio. Okay, I take my pistachios seriously. So much, in fact, that I learned in Italian, it's actually pronounced pistacchio, which is just mind-blowing. But you know what? No one else is mind-blowing. The fact that these aren't just great pistachios, they're wonderful pistachios. So treat yourself to some wonderful pistachios, because they're both delicious and nutritious. Crack into a good source of protein with wonderful pistachios. Wonderful pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts you can get. How about that? Each 1 ounce serving is 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. I don't got time to be cracking shells. I got postcasts to do, folks, especially on a doubleheader. Come on now. Grab myself a handful of those shellless, wonderful pistachios throughout the game tonight, especially in the 7th inning stretch. No shells, wonderful pistachios, grab and go, easy to use. And how about this? The fact that wonderful pistachios is a complete protein and providing all 9 essential amino acids. If you do like cracking open a pistachio, a satisfying crack can be nice from time to time, then you want it from Wonderful Pistachios. Whether you're running between meetings, dropping the kids off, Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that work as hard as you do. Wonderful Pistachios. Get snacking and maybe get cracking with the snack that packs the protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. That's wonderfulpistachios.com. Let's get into the player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Chris Sale. Nah. Not happy about it. I don't like choosing the opponent, but it's Chris Sale. Moving on.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
You can certainly say this guy was the player of the game, but he certainly provided the turning point of the game, and that's the one that came in the 4th inning. His name was Austin Riley. The two were on double to get everything going against Zack Wheeler. He provided the turning point of the game. From that point on, it was all Braves all the time, and he felt like the sweep was dead after that.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I think most people, like if I was examining this as just with my friends, whatever, I feel like in the crowd, the conversation would be like, okay, all right. How do you not retaliate for Bryce Harper? How do you not retaliate? How does Edmundo Sosa get hit? How does Rafael Marchand get hit? How does Trey Turner get hit? All 3 of those guys get hit in games after Bryce Harper gets hit by Spencer Strider, and nobody retaliates. That's one thing that's I think it'll be kicked around. The other is they took 2 or 3 from the Braves. Then back to Bryce Harper. Now, I did see that before game 1 today, Rob Thompson was addressing the media, and he was asked about why the team didn't retaliate for Bryce Harper, and he said because it wasn't on purpose. As I said in the previous show, the postcast after game 1 of this doubleheader, I said I don't look at this as some tough guy act. I don't look at this as some enforcer or anything or old school. I think this is good school. I think that this is good strategy. The bottom line is, I don't care whether or not Spencer Strider hit Bryce Harper on purpose. This was my take that night. I don't care if it was on purpose. The fact of the matter is, Bryce Harper's been hit, 3 times in the last week? If you weren't going to do something in the top of the 2nd inning to retaliate for Bryce Harper, the moment was gone. The fact that 3 more guys got hit since then and nobody did anything, that's Bush. That's Bush. Because what you've done now, here's where the strategy plays in. You have told every other pitcher throughout Major League Baseball that you can pitch inside on our guys, and if you hit them, yeah, it's okay. No problem. Go ahead and do it. It's not like we're going to retaliate. That's bad baseball. Forget about any enforcer, tough guy, macho, moxie vibe that anyone wants to talk about. I don't care. It's got nothing to do with it. It's the strategy of the game. It's the strategy of the game. Guys can just pitch inside. Oh, and look what happened. Look what happened tonight. Or today. 3 more guys get hit. No problem. That happens. Guys miss their spots from time to time. Somebody got to get hit. Just not something that the Phillies practice, unfortunately. Yeah, not something they practice. Let's get into the chat check and see how you guys are doing. What do we got here? Not sure Topper brings Wheeler out to pitch the 6th inning other than to plunk Riley or Albies, which did not happen. Sorry. You have to protect your teammates. Jeremy Von Skyver, you and me, buddy. Morgan Landy, sometimes you just don't have your stuff. I'm curious if Wheeler should have started the first game. Well, that was a weird thing that he decided to start the 2nd game. Like he wanted Chris Sale, I guess. I don't know. But apparently at the last possible minute, he called Rob Thompson said, is it too late to start game 2 instead? And Rob Thompson said, you're Zack Wheeler. You can do whatever you want. All right. It's the old Jimmy Johnson line with the Cowboys when, I think it was Emmitt Smith that showed up late. He had made a big stink about how you have to be on the same rules. Everyone's equal. And they're like, well, Emmitt was late and he didn't get punished. It's like, some players are more equal than others. Such a great line. And he's right. Graham Francis, hello. Hey, Farzy. I really hate doubleheaders. Stay well, mate. Okay, thank you, Graham. I love doubleheaders. I wish they still scheduled doubleheaders. Like the old days. Evelyn, what's going on, Evelyn? Oh, time for a Dr. Farzy therapy session. The Godfather box is dead to me, but we won 2 out of 3 season ticket. There you go. There you go. I'm okay taking 2 or 3, says Mikey B. All good. Good for you. That's the way to be. Danny says, hi, Mark. Well, let's go back to these numbers for a second here because I'm looking at the Phillies box score right now. For the people on the podcast, I got the box score up here. Here's what's interesting. Trey Turner, hit. Kyle Schwarber, hit. Alec Boehm, hit. Nick Castellanos, another hit. A 5-hit day for Nick Castellanos. JT Realmuto, got a hit. What? Yeah. Edmundo Sosa got a hit. Bryson Stott got a hit. Guys be hitting, man. Guys be hitting. Guys don't be hitting with runners in scoring position. Not that there was many of those, unfortunately, tonight, but 9 dudes were left on base. That's a wee bit of a problem. Pitching-wise, Joe Ross got, but the game was out of hand pretty much at that point anyway. I mentioned Carlos Hernandez coming in to relieve Zack Wheeler. He gave up a 2-run single. Both those runs were charged to Zack Wheeler, unfortunately. And then DeGeis, is that how you say this gentleman's name? Who came in to make his Phillies debut. He allowed a run, 3 walks, and a hit in 2 innings. Thanks for stopping by. So that's what you're looking at as far as the rest of this squad goes, unfortunately. James Alexander, where you been? I'm going to stay positive because we took 2 or 3. There you go. I'm staying positive too, babe. I'm staying positive. Gordon back up. Now, wait a minute. Where's Farzy can't bench the bar? Here's Farzy can't bench the bar. Okay, spreading lies and rumors. Before I get to you, I'm sorry. Joel, hello. No more doubleheaders, please. Joel, happy we won the series. As my polar buck, Phillies acquire left-handed pitcher Josh Walker from the Toronto Blue Jays. Walker appointed to the Lehigh Valley. There you go. Farzy can't bench the bar. Okay, here we go. Farzy, this is why Wheeler won't win a Cy Young. There are too many pitchers that don't have these blow-ups in a couple starts. Wheeler shows up in the playoffs, but the wheels fall off sometimes in the regular season. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Now, let me jump to this gentleman. Gorgon backup. Farzy, can you really not bench the bar? What do you usually rep? Well, it's been a while, maybe a year since I really attacked the bar. But I did start repping. Last I did it, 185. That's when I started repping, and I would get that to about 8 times. I get 8 reps out of that. Yeah. So I can bench the bar. This is a fun bit we do. Eventually, the Phillies, they almost won 10 in a row. I think I might have said if they win 10 in a row, I'll bench the bar live on the show, to get the clicks and the views. Right. But 185. If we're being real, if we're being honest, 185. Weston Wilson is a guy that, I see that. Herbert sucks. Okay. Weston Wilson, 1 post. The next post sucks. There you go. But last time the Flyers won the Stanley Cup, I was 33. Thank you, former Mr. President. Harper's absence was felt tonight, I think, says Joel. I agree. Gorgie, why as far as that a bald? Genes, mostly. Genetics. Too much espresso. What else we got here? Thanks, everyone. Love pistachios. How do you not love pistachios? Nothing like a satisfying crack, right? Pat McAfee's coattails. How do you get a Travis Mannion band? Went to high school with him, but he was a little bit older, so I didn't know him. Oh, okay. DM me. If you could DM me on Instagram, just Mark Farzetta, hit me up and I'll put you in touch, or I might even look at this. DM me. I'll send you one. I have another one right here. How about that? I actually was just in the airport a couple weeks ago, coming back from that vacation, and a woman was wearing the Travis Mannion backpack. And I was like, hey, for Travis. And she's like, oh, we fist bumped. It was a nice moment. Actually, maybe another time I'll tell you guys a more beautiful story than that, actually, that has to do with me being in Los Angeles and meeting somebody with the same band. Wait, what? Mikey B. I hear Topper told Harper to go and apologize for stepping in and getting in the way of Strider's pitches. That's great. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow following game 1 of Phillies Brewers tomorrow. And then no postcast Saturday. I'll be at the game. It'll be my daughter's first game. We got invited to go. How do I turn that down? And how do I miss my daughter's first game? Not happening. So my daughter's first Phillies game, and my son's, but he's 3. He won't remember it. But daughter's 5. She'll definitely remember it. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. No show Saturday, and then back with you guys Sunday again to round out that 3-game series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are fantastic. Be back with you guys tomorrow night. See you then. Bye.